What's up, everybody? Welcome to In Love with Horror. I'm AJ.
And I'm Christy.
And y'all, this is our weekly Sunday horror news live discussion. If you're already tuned in, thanks for joining us. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for tuning in on the replay. We got a few stories lined up to talk about. And if this is your first time jumping in on our news discussion, what we like to do is Sundays we like to do a live stream on YouTube where we talk about the main horror movie stories and games from the past week. So we'll be doing a little recap, and we got some interesting topics. But do you want to say anything before we start jumping into the topics?
Well, AJ is desperate to get to the Xbox game showcase, so we're gonna have a little bit shorter news broadcast today. But yeah, so if y'all are interested, definitely go check that out later today with him.
Yeah, it's in an hour. So the stream won't be more than an hour, y'all, because I got to watch the showcase because I feel like there's a lot of... I think some stuff that's already leaked, but I've been avoiding spoilers. But I think it's going to be a good showcase with some dope-ass games. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into our first story we're talking about here, y'all. And it is all about Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill making a deal with Sony.
Yes.
Their company is called Crooked Highway. So they're making a new deal with Sony to produce horror films under that banner. I think we talked about it on another live news discussion about the Screen Gems banner making that deal with Gary Doberman. Mm-hmm. He wrote for It and Annabelle Comes Home.
Yeah.
So Sony right now,
they trying to.
Yeah, it's. I feel like they're basically trying to do like a Blumhouse thing.
Yeah, that's
are. That's essentially what it seems like.
They got James Wan over there, so they're like, okay, we gotta find somebody, know, legit to get on board.
And hey, this is the right way to do it because Scott Derrickson and Cargill, they've made the Black Phone, Sinister, and of course they work together on Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So they are no stranger, pun intended, to horror, and they make really creative. Terrifying.
Yeah.
That's
really
a big
good
thing.
stuff.
Actually scary.
Yeah.
Good horror. So this is a good move by Sony, I think. It makes sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. And I commend them for trying to go after the talent.
Yes.
That is really good, at producing and making and creating good horror content for us horror fans.
Exactly.
I'm super excited for this. How excited are you for this?
I'm very excited about them. Like you said, I love them together. They make really good stuff. Yep. Like I know the Black Phone is controversial, but I really enjoyed that. I know you were kind of like, you wish there was more horror.
Oh, yeah, but not so much more horror. I just wish it was more scary.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was light. But I thought it was still really good. And obviously, we know you love Sinister.
Oh, man.
It's like your favorite movie.
Yeah, it is. It's about my favorite horror movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could see really good potential with this team up. Sony, sometimes they can miss. But I think they did a really good strategic move with this one.
Yeah, 100%. Now, at this moment, they have not announced any projects yet. But I'm sure that we'll be hearing about some new projects soon.
Yeah.
We probably, they got to get in production and all that, so we won't get any concrete news. But hopefully, they either do some new original IP or they go and tackle, some horror franchise in the vault or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. I know we don't like remaking stuff like that, but I feel like Scott Derrickson could do a really good Nightmare on Elm Street. I think he could do it and make it stupid scary.
I'm not saying he couldn't, but I'm just wondering if that's necessary.
Oh yeah, it's not necessary. I just think it'd be dope.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Let us know how are you feeling about Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill taking their Crooked Highway production company, putting it under Sony to produce some new horror content. Let us know if you're hyped for that. And let's jump into our next story, y'all. And this is all for the people who love Creep. I love Creep. You love Creep. Everybody loves the two Creep movies, right? Well, apparently there is the Creep Tapes TV series being shopped around right now, right? Yeah. I don't think it's found
home yet.
Yeah, it hasn't found a home yet. But basically what happened, y'all, was Mark Duplass released a weird video that, sent everybody into a frenzy,
Right.
hoping for a Creep 3.
They were.
But it was confirmed that, again, it was the Creep Tapes TV series being shopped around to buyers. Now, basically, this series is based on a collection of videotapes in the secret vault of the world's deadliest and most socially uncomfortable serial killer,
crazy,
who hires his victims to film him for the day under false pretenses, Duplass said. And basically each episode exposes a new victim.
And I thought that was so crazy.
Oh, that's genius.
There's no way no one's gonna buy this.
Oh yeah, someone's gonna pick it up. The only way, and I don't know how this would be possible, but it is possible. The only way it wouldn't get picked up if it's just not good. But I doubt that. Yeah, right. If they can keep the formula
as the movies.
from the movies, then they won't have any issue getting a buyer. And honestly, I feel like this movie found a lot of love on Netflix, so I'm kind of surprised that Netflix
hasn't already backed it. I agree with that. Actually, was thinking that same thing. Like, I feel like that probably would be a good move for them, since, like you said, they've housed those first two ones. But shoot, they said that we're gonna go for the money. So whoever will give us,
look, they probably got something dope. They know they got something dope, and so they're shopping it around. I'm hoping that, somebody picks it up that we subscribe to, so we can watch it easier. Who might pick this up too? Probably Shudder.
Unless it's really expensive. I could see them doing that.
Yeah,
that
Shudder
actually would be good for them.
Oh, it would be.
Yeah,
I feel like because this is something that I think a lot of people know about.
Yeah,
from the two movies being on Netflix, you find that popularity on Netflix. People who might not be subscribed to Shudder know about it, and it's big. It's big enough that people will be like, oh yeah, I watched a movie on Netflix. It's on Shudder. Let me subscribe to Shudder, and give Shudder some subscription support. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
But I'm excited for this. I thought those first two films was dope. And again, we both said it was genius to do each episode exposing a different victim. I guess my question would be is how long is each episode? I feel like you need at least a solid hour to create an interesting story. Dynamic. If the recipe is always the same of, they're getting invited to film and then stuff ends up happening. And
how many episodes? Because even if each episode is really good, you also don't want to be like, get tired of it. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like you were just talking about having the same formula and all that kind of stuff. Like, you can't do.
You got to find a way to be
that same thing and then not be like boring, I guess. But I'm sure they'll keep it interesting.
Yeah, they're gonna have to find a way to keep it interesting, keep it creative. And maybe it'll be in like different environments that that the creep is like posted up in random houses. Like they could do a lot of different things with it, but the key will be keeping it interesting from episode to episode. Hopefully those episodes are a little bit longer.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Like it sounds exciting, but the more I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering how well it'll work.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll let y'all know on an updated news video once someone does buy this. But to all of our viewers, let us know how excited you are about the Creep tapes. Are you a fan of Creep 1 and 2? And what do you think they could do to keep each episode interesting if it's always following the same formula? Let us know that in the chat and in the comments.
Side note, sorry. Because I'm thinking about something like Sinister, for example, and how they had those like tapes with different families and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like, it's kind of like that. Like, how would that work as a series?
I mean, that could work because each family's experience is vastly different.
True.
Even when you think about how they were killed, they could play a lot with because different time periods, different neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They would have so many options with that if they did go like a Sinister series tape route, which would actually be kind of
all right. Well, y'all call us if y'all want to make that.
We got you. We got you. But all right, y'all, let's move on to our next story, which is all about Blumhouse Games. So if you're a video game fan like I am, then you watched the Summer Game Fest that was hosted by Jeff Keighley like he does each year. It happened on Friday, so a bunch of games were announced. But Jason Blum and I apologize because I cannot remember the woman's name. I think she was like the creative director or something like that of the Blumhouse Games division. Obviously, Jason Blum runs the whole Blumhouse. But he actually came out on stage to hype up, this new division within Blumhouse. It's all about making video games.
Yeah.
But what surprised me the most was the way that they're doing it. And I actually really like this method of what they're doing. But they are basically giving studios, like indie game studios, a chance to make really creative and interesting horror. And they've already got like a slate of like, I don't know the exact number of games.
It was like 6.
The article. Yeah, like 6 or something games already lined up to start dropping. But, Jason Blum really hit on saying like, we're trying to fund these indie game companies to allow them the freedom to create the most weirdest, darkest, terrifying shit. And he literally was like, hey, go crazy. Like, that's what we want. We're Blumhouse. We want these crazy ass horror games. And I'm sure they saw, the market for horror games, right? Like, all the streamers, like it's big on YouTube as like from like a streaming perspective, because a lot of people don't like to play them. They just like to watch other people play them because they can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about some of the games that they showed off, because it was super dope across the board. They had like a little sizzle reel trailer showing off these 6 games. The first one what we got was Crystal Theater of Idols from I think it says, it's kind of small on my screen, like Vermilla Studios.
That's what it's like,
but this was like a first-person shooter, horror thriller type of game. The art style was really good.
I love the art style.
Very like, like high-level graphics. And I just thought like, I think it's trying to go for, the real like Resident Evil types of vibes in the sense of its presentation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like real cinematic and like pretty to look at, but also terrifying.
Yeah.
And you can see one of the images here of like one of the little like ghoul-looking things that was attacking the character in the trailer. But this one looked really good. And then we got Grave Seasons.
I thought that was cool.
This
too.
was like
it looked like an old school.
Well, it was like one of those like what do you call it though? Those games where you like build like villages and stuff like that.
Exactly like that.
But it's mixed with horror, like zombies and weird
Which
shit.
I was like, oh, this would be
supernatural stuff.
A really good game to play.
Yeah.
Like it seemed very like calming, but not calming. I don't know how to put it into words, but it looked really cool.
Yeah, and this is coming from Perfect Garbage. But yeah, it looked interesting. So if you like those, because it says like, the premise is you maintain your farm, explore the town, you build relationships, and you harvest crops. So
I wonder if that's gonna be like,
but it's mixed. It says there's also a supernatural serial killer that's transforming people into piles of flesh and bone.
I was just gonna say, I wondered like what that will be on, because I feel like that sounds like a good phone game too.
Honestly, the way it looks, it seemed like a phone could handle it. I don't think they announced platforms for any of these.
They didn't.
I wouldn't be surprised if it just releases on everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they're trying to get as much money as possible.
Now this next one looked really cool.
So this next one we got is called Sleep Awake, coming from Eyes Out. This one was super interesting looking, another first person shooter.
Yeah, it looked kind of really like futuristic, and I don't know, I just really like the whole vibe of it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna read the little excerpt here. It says, it's got the vibe of A Nightmare on Elm Street. People keep disappearing as they sleep, while those who remain exist in a crisis of reckless experiments to keep awake. You take on the role of Katja, who needs to face off against depraved death cults, otherworldly forces, and the ever-present horror of the hush.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird concept. It looked kind of like futuristic and creepy.
Yeah.
Like it just looked really good.
Yeah.
Like I was like, damn, this is a cool looking game too. But again, that was Sleep Awake coming from Eyes Out. Thought that was dope. And then we got Fear the Spotlight from Cozy Game Pals. And this was that like PS1 VHS style like horror game that has become real popular in the last couple years. So I'm not surprised that Blumhouse Games has dived into finding a studio to make a game like that.
Yeah.
But if you like those style of games, you know what I'm talking about. I don't remember any of the names of the classic ones off the top of my head, but they are making a game with that style. And it says its storyline is knowingly typical and all the better for it. You sneak into a school at night with your friends, Vivian and Amy. Botcha Seance. Then explore the building to uncover the disturbing mystery behind a school tragedy decades before. Solving puzzles along the way. Trusting the game's name, too, because you really need to avoid that spot.
I think you'll like that one.
Yeah, I think that one will be super cool to check out. Then we got the simulation from, Playmat Studio. Well, this one looked super interesting because it was like a video game designer, and he was like helping on like a case and to investigate a case, and the gameplay mechanics looked really weird because it looked like he was using game design tools to like change up the simulation to help figure out and solve this case.
Yeah,
I don't know. It looked really good visually. Looked interesting. It looks like it's taking on different artistic forms within the game. But I just thought that one looked really cool. And then we got here. It's not the last one, is it? Yeah, it's the last one.
Yeah.
The last one was.
I thought that was my favorite.
Project C by Half Mermaid Productions. Okay. It's nothing more than a couple of pieces of concept art currently. Let me see if they mentioned anything else about it, because this one I don't really remember.
Well, they had that. They had it in the trailer, but it looked cool. The art did look cool, anyways.
Okay, so it's being created by Sam Barlow. If you're familiar with Her Story, Immortality, which are very like super heavy narrative focused like film style games, and Brandon Cronenberg from Possessor and Infinity Pool. So it's got some insane names attached to it.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't seem like they
don't have a whole lot of information.
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of information on it, other than the fact that it is coming.
Mike says, "Do you remember Clay Fighters?"
Oh hell yeah, I remember Clay Fighters.
He said he needed a game like that or Mortal Kombat, but with cryptids and kaiju monsters.
Ooh man, that would be fire. I remember Clay Fighters though. I had that on the Super Nintendo. That was just a cool style game. But yeah, like with cryptids and kaiju and shit, that would be kind of dope. Like Blumhouse Games might be the people to make something like that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Go ahead and pitch it, Mike.
Oh, you know what I was thinking too? Now that was the last game, right?
Yeah.
That one we just talked about, the Project C. But speaking of like Blumhouse Games, I think now they got a games division. They could. Now I'm sure there might be some licensing things, but they could take, the IP that they already have under Blumhouse and make games for them.
Yeah.
Like imagine an Insidious game.
That would be super fire.
That shit would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like an Insidious game going to the astral projection, being the projection world. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
That little area. But it's got potential. That would have potential to be dope.
Yeah.
Like imagine playing a game where you're actually being stalked by the red-faced demon.
Yeah.
That shit would be creepy. Like some Outlast type shit, but with the red-faced demon.
That's actually really cool.
That shit would
I'm
be
sure
wild.
they probably have already considered doing that. So.
Oh, I'm sure it's got to be. It's got to be in the works.
Coming down the pipeline.
It's got to be in the pipeline.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely excited for. I think that after seeing them be like so open to all these indie game studios,
yeah,
because the game industry has had a lot of layoffs and people trying to find work. So it's cool that they're supporting these smaller studios to create what seems like to me the projects that they want to create within horror. So shout out to them for actually taking the right step forward there.
That's awesome.
And I'm looking forward to all these games and making some dope games based off their IP.
Now all they gotta do is make some good movies.
They do. And hopefully their games division doesn't take that direction. But since they have like the studios work on them, I'm sure that they can work through it.
A Believer game.
Oh hell no! Yeah, no, we're definitely not doing that.
He did that on purpose.
Yeah, I know he did. But look, but this Mike Flanagan one, that might be fire enough to make a game worthwhile. But we'll see. Hey, y'all let us know how hyped are you for Blumhouse Games division. All these games that are coming got a wide slate. I don't think they have release dates. They're probably coming to many different platforms.
Yeah.
But let us know some of your ideas as well for what you'd want to see come out of Blumhouse Games, especially if they use their IP. Yep. Drop that in the chat and in the comments. Let's jump to our next story here, which is all about Hostel. So if you are a fan of the Hostel films, you'll be excited to know that there is a Hostel TV series coming starring Paul Giamatti. What? Paul Giamatti was just Oscar nominated for The Holdovers.
He was.
So shout out to them, securing that deal. I'm sure everyone knows what Hostel is. Hostel was that kind of like, torture porn type movie from back in the I think early to mid 2000s, where it followed some backpackers in I forget what the country was, somewhere in Europe, and they end up falling into one of these like underground cult things that do like snuff film type stuff and allow people the opportunity to torture and kill people, and they end up falling victim to all that crazy shit. But if you like that movie, they got a series coming. They don't have a platform secured yet, right? I think that's what the article said.
No.
Let me jump back to it real quick. Yeah, but one thing I did want to mention that the studio behind the series Severance, 5th season, is backing the Hostel TV series. Of course, Eli Roth and what's the other dude's name that also helped on?
Chris Briggs.
Yeah, Chris Briggs and Mike Fleece are all returning as well. But I'm a huge fan of Severance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, if you've never watched Severance, it's over on Apple TV Plus. Check out Severance. It's a super dope, like, thriller drama type show.
I haven't watched it.
Very like interesting concept. It'll suck you in, and it's one of those shows where like the more you learn about it and shit starts to unravel, it gets like crazier and crazier.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, like it's fire. Severance is so dope. I can't wait for the second season. But I gotta get you to watch it. I know I told you to watch it before.
Yeah.
But I definitely gotta like force you to sit down and watch it because Severance is dope. So I'm actually excited that the people who worked on Severance are working on this because Severance was such a good show. So hopefully, Hostel could be a good show as well, especially with someone like Paul Giamatti starring in it, Oscar nominated. But yeah, I mean that's all the real news for this project right now. At least it's coming. So I know there's big Hostel fans out there. There's a lot of people who like those style of movies. So y'all can get hyped for this Hostel TV series.
Well, shout out to Matt and Lacey from Low Bear and Beans. Oh my god.
Oh, what's up, y'all? What's going on?
They said they want a Holdovers game. I haven't watched Holdovers. Have you seen Holdovers?
No, I haven't watched it either.
Okay.
No.
We gotta catch up on that one.
Yeah.
They also said Severance is great, one of their favorite recent series.
Oh yeah, Severance was so dope. Oh my man. And I was like late to the party on Severance. Someone had told me about it, or I kept seeing stuff about it after the season had already concluded. I was like, let me watch this thing, and I was like, damn, I can't believe I slept on this. Like, baby, show was so like
we got so much shit.
The
to watch.
concept is so amazing.
We'll catch up on. I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, I was like, man, whoever wrote this, like, this shit is dope. But that's it for our like last big news story. We did want to briefly mention the box office because we had a big horror film in the box office, y'all, and that was The Watchers. Now, I'm sure everyone is, privy to kind of the mixed bag reviews that The Watchers is getting right now online. We were actually among the few that really liked this movie a lot.
The few.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it the few. I think the Rotten Tomatoes has gone.
It's better now.
It's better for audience scores at 57.
Yeah.
So that means over half the people that watched the movie liked it.
Yeah.
But box office wise, it's not looking great. So
because everyone was trashing it.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate. Like, I feel like, I don't know, but I know critics understand like the power that they have, right? Like those initial reviews are super important.
Yep.
And they trash this movie, so nobody wants to go see it.
Yeah. So right now everything's still estimated. They do the estimation analysis on Sundays, and usually they're pretty spot on come Monday morning. But right now they're saying that The Watchers will make $7 million domestically, and then around I believe it was 11 million worldwide. Pretty rough. I have no idea what the budget was, but definitely not
so disappointing.
What we were hoping to see. And on this Deadline article, they mentioned like negative chatter around the movie, and one of the quotes that they got here was, quote, "Negative convo on The Watchers is limited to those turned off by M. Night Shyamalan's involvement as a producer after being dissatisfied with many of his past cinematic
It's just so sad
ventures."
for her. Like someone else was in our that commented on our review mentioned that like they felt that is why it didn't do good.
It's possible.
And that the fact that they assumed, right, that her movie is also going to be like her dad's movies. Yeah. And that's so unfortunate.
In some ways they're not wrong, but it's better.
I don't agree.
I think it's got the formula and the vibe of a Shyamalan movie.
I think it's easy to compare them because that's her father, but honestly I don't think they're alike. I think she has a very different method of storytelling than he does.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with the storytelling aspect, but I'm just more speaking to like the vibe and the tone, the presentation.
I feel like if this wasn't his daughter and you went to watch this movie, you wouldn't have initially gone to comparing it to M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I bet you I would.
I don't agree.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah, Mike agrees that M. Night's name has hurt her movie. Yeah. And it's so unfortunate because like, people always talk about nepotism, right? Like, and obviously she has some of that privilege, but at the same time, it's like on the flip side of that, when someone who has like a negative connotation attached to their name, you know what I'm saying? Like now that person is being hindered because that's their parent.
Right. Yeah.
You know? It's kind of sad.
Another line that was interesting in this Deadline article after that quote, it said, This despite the fact that the social media universe metrics at 150.7 million are running 9% above first installment horror norms across TikTok, Facebook, X, YouTube, and Instagram combined. So it's actually getting a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
But no one's going out there to see it.
Well, there's a whole bunch of I don't know. It gets crazy. I don't know, Matt or Lacey. I don't think that Shyamalan Lane has anything to do with it. Normal people don't follow that stuff. I think some people do. Only because Shyamalan is a very big name. Okay, so for example, I'm in this Facebook group, Black Girls Love Horror, and most of the people that went to go see this movie went because that's who her father is. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think the name does have some sort of play in the support or not supporting of the movie. Mike says that basically Brandon Cronenberg has a positive effect due to his last name, not to discredit him because his movies are great. Yeah, I mean, some people have that positive already out the gate just because their father was really, really great. Cronenberg's movies are great, so people are like, oh, well, obviously his movies are going to be great.
Right.
But a lot of people don't like M. Night Shyamalan, so they're like, oh, well, especially when you see people talk about that. Like, these are normal people saying that. Like, oh, well, I didn't like The Village, or I didn't like this, so I'm going to assume that this is not going to be good, especially with his name being on the daggone poster produced by. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't understand what a producer does. Like, normal people don't.
That's true. I do agree with that. Casual fans probably don't know.
They do not. And so if you see, produced by, they're going to assume that he has a lot more involvement in that film than he probably does.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, I agree. But to Matt and Lacey's point, one thing I will say, though.
Oh, it's Matt.
Oh, as Matt said that. To Matt's point, one thing I will say is that when we think about the box office in terms of, like, how much money it generates, I do feel like a lot of times it's those casual people that really lift up the box office.
Oh, they do. Right? Did you see what happened with Bad Boys?
That's what I'm saying, right?
Killed it.
So that being said, all those casual people, I think it's got to be either the marketing just didn't hit it for them.
Well, I already told you how I felt about that.
Yeah.
I think the marketing was a detriment to this movie.
I think you mentioned it for the reviews, but I thought the trailer was interesting in terms of, like, getting someone to want to see it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's either, like, the way it was marketed or the Shyamalan, like, name attachment.
I think it's both of those things.
And yeah, because it's all about. And one thing I will say too now, we're talking about like the casual moviegoer too, right? It's all about when the movie was released and what weekend. It came out the same weekend that Bad Boys came out. And people were going crazy for Bad Boys.
They did. I think they made like 53.
Yeah, it's like 50 something million.
That is
crazy. Yeah, it did numbers. It did numbers.
Yeah.
And because everyone's trying to like count the movie out because of Will Smith and stuff like that, but like nobody worry about that shit no more. Like nobody worrying about that shit no more. Like people just want to see him back in movies, and people love the Bad Boys brand. I know we definitely want to see it, but we just been so busy.
Super busy.
This week had a chance to do
crazy. Mike said some people think producer means director, and many people still think Jordan Peele directed Candyman. Yeah,
that's a good point.
That is a very good point.
That's a good point. Yeah, and I think didn't the trailer even have? Didn't the trailer even say Shyamalan, and then it like transition to M. Night Shyamalan?
It does. It has his name in the trailer.
So people probably like, oh, this is.
I'm not gonna lie. The very first time I watched this trailer, I thought he was directing it.
Yeah.
Because of the way they put his name in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious if for her next movie they just leave his name off it out.
Yeah. All right, Dad. We're not putting your shit nowhere near this.
Yeah. Hey, Dad. No offense. But you got to sit this one out. Your name is not being on the stuff. Sorry about that. We'll put you in the credits so you get the IMDb credit, but you're not gonna be the poster and then trailer. I hate to tell you this, Dad, but
yeah, I'm sure they thought that would be more helpful than it was.
Yeah,
which is super sad.
Yeah, I hate it for the whole team.
I watched her. I know we got a lot of. I know you're trying to get to.
No, we still got some time.
Thing. Okay.
We got plenty of time still.
I watched her see her poster come up on the Times Square Jumbotron, and she was so adorable. Like she just could, like it was like the most like exciting thing
It's
for her
gotta
to
be a
see.
crazy film.
I'm sure. And then, so I was already rooting for her because she was just really cute. And then I just feel bad that, you know, she's not, well, critic wise, they trashed her movie.
Yeah.
It's been pretty sad. Matt said M. Night has a movie coming out this summer, so people might have gotten them mixed up. That's true. He does have another movie coming out. We've got two Night Shyamalan movies coming out this summer.
Movies coming out, and I'm all for it. See, I love Shyamalan, man.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say too, when it comes to that casual audience, like they're only gonna see one movie.
Yeah. Especially because it costs a lot of money.
Going to the movies is expensive as hell.
It's expensive.
And sometimes some people only like especially at work, when I go to work and I talk to people about movies.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even really go to the movies that often.
Yeah.
They might go like once a month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what's the big movie of that month?
Right.
Like, what is the blockbuster movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the movie I got to see. That's going to be like
I'm
the
gonna
one
wait to
time
go to
I go
that.
to the theater. But I'm not going any other time. I'm just going to wait for streaming.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the casual audience has got to that point.
Well, yeah, now.
Unless,
especially because movies come to streaming so much faster now.
Yeah.
Too.
Yep, true.
So it's not like you got to wait a long time.
Yeah.
Like people were watching the first Omen this past week because it just came on streaming. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to really wait that long now.
Right.
So it's like, oh, well, I'll just wait. I'll save my money.
Yeah. So it came out with Bad Boys. It should have tried to come out on a weekend where there wasn't nothing big. Yeah. Obviously, it's hard to predict in way in advance, but I think that would have helped this film. Obviously, I pulled up the Rotten Tomatoes. The critic score went up a little bit. It's still not as high as I would like to see it. And the audience score again is at 52%.
Yeah. Also, note about Bad Boys, and then we'll move on. The conversation around like the box office and stuff like that, people going to theaters last week was like, oh, people are just not going because the Furiosa movie didn't do the numbers that they expected. And then, you know,
because nobody wanted the movie, but yeah, go ahead.
And then we see Bad Boys come out, and then it's the astronomical movie numbers, and they're like, well, hold up. So it's not really the fact that people aren't going to go to the theater. They're going to go watch what they want to go watch. Right. They just didn't want to go see Furiosa.
See, here's a problem with Furiosa, and I know we're getting off track.
I know, sorry about y'all.
But we do like to talk about movies in general.
Yeah.
But the problem with Furiosa was no one really wanted that movie.
Right.
Like, I was a fan of Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road is dope as fuck. Like, that movie is crazy good, right?
Yeah.
But I never went like, oh, you know what I want? I want a Furiosa prequel, like, really bad, y'all. Like, I need that shit in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not to say, obviously, I haven't seen the movie, but I heard it's really good. I heard Furiosa is really good.
It's good too.
But I think the casual people that just go into the movies is like, you know, what Furiosa, I just wait. Like, it looks cool, but I don't really care about it too much.
Matt said, I wanted it very badly.
Really?
I think he's being sarcastic. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he did. Let me know. Are you being sarcastic, Matt? Because you never know with Matt. But he said, I'm working on a video explaining why I think the movie industry is facing a huge crisis, and people thinking it's too expensive to go is maybe reason number one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually saw this other guy. I forgot his name. Seth somebody. Seth Talks Movies. I don't know. He was talking about, you know, that argument about it being too costly. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you know, I just raw dog it. I just go to, I don't get no popcorn. I don't get nothing to drink or nothing like that unless I'm taking my kids. Mm-hmm. And he said, and when I take my kids, it's not that often. Right. But when I go by myself to go watch movies, I don't get all that extra stuff. I just go watch the movie and then I'm out or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, you know, the fact that they have options like the unlimited pass or what's AMC's,
you know,
remember. Different theaters
A-list,
have A-list, you know, things like that. And it's kind of like you make priorities for what you want to do, right? Yep. Like we don't go to Starbucks like every day, but you might go to Starbucks every day because you love Starbucks, right? So that money that you're spending on Starbucks, we spend at the theater, you know, stuff like that. That's so it's all about what you prioritize. Yep. He said you know he loves Mad Max, and whatever George Miller wants to make is what he wants to see. Okay,
so like
we understand that.
A George Miller super fan.
We got that. Yeah. You know, okay, we're not talking about Furiosa, so never mind. Let's move on.
But yeah, no, I think that'd be a dope video.
Well, definitely let us know when you post that.
There's a lot of interesting conversation around the movie industry, the box office.
KB loves movies. Who we did a live with him. Yep. He did a panel too So if you're not subscribed to his channel, go check his channel out. He did a panel talking about the movie industry recently, like a couple weeks ago too. So that may be something you can check out too, Matt, just for reference.
Yeah, but yeah, the movie industry is an interesting place because they will say like, oh, the box office is crumbling, but then like some mega hit will come out that people like are flocking to theaters for. And so it's like, hey, look, we just need good movies.
But
and then also reading the audience and like knowing what they want.
Exactly.
Right?
Not you just sitting at your house like, we should
do
this movie.
Because going back to the Furiosa thing, right? I don't think that people didn't want another Mad Max movie.
Just not.
But I think would have did better if it was like a sequel. It might have been tough, but yeah, if they somehow found a way to do like a sequel, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that would have fared better because now you got like the familiarity for the like this casual moviegoer. Because like obviously us like movie fans,
right?
We remember everything,
yeah.
Right? Oh, we know who directed, produced it, the stars. But I promise you, when I go to work and I talk movies with people who don't be watching movies like that. They don't be knowing shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really don't.
Yeah. Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. I was talking to somebody about The Watchers the other day. They were like, it's a remake. I was like, it's not a remake.
See what I'm saying?
They were like, yes, it is. I was like, no. There's another movie called Watchers, but it's not the same movie at all.
Right.
It's not a remake.
Yeah, but they really
but
don't.
They assume that stuff.
But, like, see, if you got that reference point, then keep them interested. So, like, the characters are carrying over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Remember Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron was in that? Oh, yeah. They got a new one? Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm going to go see that one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I promise you, that's how these I experience it every day at work. Like, that's how they are. I can't get too deep with the movies because they don't. It's very surface level for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's only like a lot of times, some people only go for like the tent poles or the very interesting ones or stuff that's got like some really good franchise backing from it.
Right. Matt did say people have 1 million subscriptions and a huge phone bill and healthcare premiums and a billion other expenses. So there's just room, not room for going to the movies. Yes, like
that's true.
You just it's got to be something that you want to do, right? Like or able to do.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
I guess he said, I do agree people don't want prequels, but I think it's always a risky bet. Fury Road was a big hit, but it's still pretty niche franchise.
Yeah, definitely niche. And I know it did not do the numbers that they hoped because also the movie was really expensive.
Yeah.
I think the movie's budget was like something crazy, like 160, 170.
Oh, dang.
It was something wild.
That is wild.
Like they about to lose money on that movie.
Sheesh. Well, that'll probably be out really quick too. I feel like when movies don't do,
they try to recoup on the back end.
They send it out really fast.
But you know, I don't know. It's all good conversation.
Like Strangers cost $24.99 to watch. I'm like $19.99 to rent.
But here's the thing with that though, right? When you're looking at those numbers, when they do like it's on streaming like 3 weeks later, but it's a premium price. If you think about like we talk about taking like family members, kids, and stuff like that. That price is usually cheaper than if you were to buy a bunch of tickets.
I guess.
If you think about it that way.
If you're taking a lot of people.
Right. If you think about it like that, it is a good deal. Like, well, we have unlimited.
But if you're just one person.
If you're just one person, yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people do go to movies by themselves, but.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah. So I couldn't really make the argument. But if you normally take a group, it is a good deal.
Yeah.
Like, versus buying straight up tickets. But anyway, we can save that talk for another discussion.
Yeah, we should do that.
But yeah, I'm interested to see Matt's video on that too, because I feel like there's a lot of different theories, ideas, economics on the box office, movie theaters. Because I've heard people say like, oh, movie theaters end up going away and shit like that. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what other people think about the whole industry as a whole. But y'all, that pretty much wraps up all the news and things we want to talk about. But before we go, we want to do like a little bit of housekeeping updates and what we got coming up. The first one we wanted to talk about was Evil. We have not forgotten about Evil. I promise y'all, we have been watching the show. Now, we haven't seen the 3rd episode yet because we just been so busy. But we're going to watch it
and then we'll do a review of episodes 1 through 3.
Yep, exactly. So we're going to watch episode 3 probably today, and then we'll do a review of the first 3 episodes, also, which I feel gives us a good foundation for a review.
I also want to point out that Evil, now you might have to fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's like the most watched horror show streaming this past like couple weeks that it's been available on Netflix now, right? Like across all platforms, they're counting Netflix.
Evil as a whole. Yep.
They're counting Netflix and Paramount. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a whole across platforms, because now they got the first 2 seasons on Netflix. Now
Yep.
people are able to watch it because not everybody got it's on Paramount Plus, right?
Yes, Paramount Plus.
Yeah, not everybody got that,
Mhm.
but most everybody got Netflix, right?
Yep.
So
Mhm.
yeah, they're watching the first 2 seasons and they're counting that watch time along with
Yep.
the new season available on.
And honestly, like shout out to Paramount because that was genius.
Yeah.
It was genius to drop Evil on Netflix like a month prior to the new season release, because now you got people hooked. Like,
exactly.
Oh, now I gotta watch the next season. Was it on Paramount Plus? Fuck it, I'm signing up for it.
Yeah,
that was so smart. Like shout out to the marketing team on that one. Genius for that move.
Matt said maybe we could join him for the discussion, or maybe AJ can because he's much more passionate about this kind of topic than I am.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, definitely let us know.
Yep.
Mike says I need to watch Evil 2. Yes, you gotta watch.
Oh, like he's never
Evil.
seen it. Period.
Have you ever? Oh yeah, let us know. Have you ever not seen any episode at all? Because it is so okay. It's like I'm like I love the show, but I get so fired up from it. Like I get angry. I get emotional.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how it affects me, but it does.
But the show is really good.
It is.
The
good.
characters are really good.
I can't help but be invested.
I think, and we'll get into this when we do like our season 4 first 3 episodes review. Like one of our main gripes with it, and like you pointed out, and I do agree with you on this one, is like you compare it to shows like the X-Files and stuff like that, right? Because the formula, like Fringe and stuff like that, the formula is very similar. Mm-hmm. You work a case, and then you solve that case, and then there's always a main plot line that pushes it through, right? But in the show, a lot of times, the case just gets like forgotten about or like not fully solved, and so there'll be a lot of times because I brought you onto the season. Like you hadn't watched anything, or you watched the first season, but you hadn't watched the 2 and 3. I had already watched them, so I finally had set you down and watched it. And you're like, "So what happens?" And I'm like, they never come back to that. And she's like, "You're just like, what the fuck?" Like, and I'm like,
because
I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Closure.
Like, why don't they ever
There's no
come
closure.
back to that? There's no closure on that. That's one of our main gripes.
Oh, that's right. Mike is watching Teen Wolf. I told him that you like Teen Wolf, and back then you did.
Back then, so. Let me preface this, right? Are they making news?
No, he's watching
new stuff. Oh, okay. Because back in the day when that shit first came out on MTV, I was watching. I thought this shit was good.
It was not. I also watched it.
Might be misremembering, but I know I tuned in. I was tuning in every week for sure.
I did not like that show.
Really,
I couldn't get into it.
That was back in the day though, so
it might be different.
I might watch now and be like, damn, what was I thinking?
You might do that.
I might. I don't know. Yeah, because that during when you watch stuff on MTV, right? You watching it because like maybe your friend, everybody else is watching it. Yeah. So like you just tuning into the shit and just part of the conversation.
Okay, B, we just talked about you. Happy Sunday.
Hey,
we
KB.
just mentioned your discussion on the movie industry.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to KB. Thanks for tuning in.
But yeah, for people who have not checked out Evil, check it out. It's a really clever show because it touches on a lot of like conspiracies and current like events. Like
they do.
It's so interesting.
It's very
like
interesting.
The writing is so cool. It's so dope in that show, and I like the main plot idea. And they touch on a lot of different things. And like with Mike Coulter playing like a black priest, like that adds like a really cool dimension to it.
Yeah, it does.
And they actually have episodes that touch on the concept of like black people and Catholicism and like angels and the representation of them throughout like
history and
art
stuff.
and stuff like that. Like they touch on some really cool shit, a lot of cool messaging, conspiracies, the works. Even the current season is doing that. And when we watch it, I'd kind of like fill you in like, okay, this conspiracy based on this right here. It's a lot of cool shit.
My thing though, it's kind of like I wonder, I don't know what it's like to write on a show. Like I don't know what it's like to be in a writing room.
Right.
But I feel like across the board now, it seems like, hey, when you have a group of people involved in these shows, like for example, it's like, okay, we can't allow these characters to share any information with each other until the end of the season.
That is an issue with the show too. Yep.
So we can get
Like
as
they're
many
not
episodes.
communicating.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the one thing I just cannot take with that show. It's like because they don't share shit. They just be like having the most.
They keep it to themselves all the time.
The whole time. I can't deal with that. But From is the exact same way. It's like they experiencing the same things that they could have
they're not
solved.
talking about
they can solve this if we just work together.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
I can't wait for From. They've been dropping like stuff on their Instagram, but they haven't like announced anything. But
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm ready for that show to come back.
Hopefully that show doesn't take forever though to like get to some points.
They need to end it. Because I need to get to the end.
We gonna see that.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, but Evil, check that out. Again, we're gonna watch episode 3 today, and we will do a review of the first 3 episodes, and then we'll try to be more active about reviewing it either per episode or maybe every 2 episodes. We'll see. But tune in for that. We just recently went to yesterday. We went to the Portland Horror Film Festival. If you follow us on social media, you saw we were out there. Super dope experience. First time in Portland. First time at the Portland Horror Film Festival. Got to see a lot of incredible shorts. Got to see some features. It was just an overall like good experience being an audience of nothing but horror fans. Yeah. Watching all these films. This was our first film festival that we had been to.
Yeah, it was.
Because we had been to the Crypticons, and we had SIFF. I kind of count. We did go to a couple screenings of Seattle's International Film Festival, but this was different because we stayed in the same theater the whole fucking day, just watching nothing but horror shit the entire day.
It was
nothing but shorts and features, and everything's back to back. And it was just a cool experience. There were so many dope shorts, but we're gonna do reviews on our website. Yeah. I'm telling y'all, there was some incredible filmmaking being done with some.
I want to point this out. I'm gonna talk about this every time I talk about it, but there were over 70 films. Yep. In the entire thing, and half of them were made by women. Yeah. Which was crazy. Yep. And it was a lot of like diversity, right? There's
like a ton of diversity.
Black filmmakers, Asian,
Black leads, Asian leads, Asian filmmakers,
Latinx, Indian, queer. It was just really great to see all the diversity across the board.
So shout out to Gwen who runs that festival for really making sure to keep like a very diversified group of films across the number of days. They're doing it for like 4 or 5 days. But that's dope to see all of that representation. Yeah. And it makes for such unique films.
It did.
Because there was one film, you'll see it in the review, it was called My Scary Indian Wedding. That actually like touched on like, some like I guess like Indian like mythos, like demonics type shit. Yeah. That was super cool. We got like some dope black led shorts. One that we both really liked. One was called Thirsty Thursday. Yeah. And it was like a black female led short talking about consent and asking for consent, and it dealt with like witch coven type shit. Yeah, and it was cool. Obviously there's a lot of like undertone messaging with it too about being black and what you deal with as a black woman and stuff like that. But it was just super dope to see like so many different types of interesting and creative
even mental health. There was a feature that we watched that had to deal with, what was it called?
I think it's called dissociative identity disorder. Yeah, that's what it's called. The film was called Dead Eye. Dope feature that touched on like you said that mental health aspect. It was just crazy to see like the breadth of different types of shorts and features that we watched yesterday, and it was such a dope experience. Now I'm even more hyped to go to more festivals and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll do like a breakdown of everything we watched over on our website. I don't know if we'll ever do a video on it just because time is kind of crazy. It's a busy time for us right now. Yeah. A lot of different shit going on. But maybe we could try to do a little recap video if y'all are interested in us talking about our experience from yesterday at the Portland Horror Film Festival.
Okay. KB mentioned Etheria Film Festival, which is all female directed and written shorts festival. That's cool.
That's dope.
Mike said he'd love to go to a diverse horror film fest. Definitely add that to your list of things to do because it was super dope. I really
and everyone was like so nice.
So nice.
Because look, if we keeping it like I gotta keep it real, right?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Gotta keep it $1.50. For like a period in time, we was the only black people in there. But everyone was nice as hell, though. Like, even when we were outside, like, people coming up to us and talking to us. Yeah. Like, different filmmakers were talking to us and stuff like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was very, like, welcoming.
It was.
Even in the midst of that, being the only black people there. I looked at Christy and I'm like, Yeah, we the only black people in here right now.
But it was a smaller. I told him it was a much, it's a smaller film festival.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's to be expected.
Right. Yeah, it is to be expected. Now more came later though.
The one that
a few.
She was on the film.
One was on one of them films.
And the other one,
there was a couple others though.
It was like one other one.
Yeah. But look, I say that to say that everyone was welcoming as hell.
They
though.
were.
Like
it was really nice.
It was a super dope experience.
We had so much fun.
Yeah, it was so dope, and everyone was so cool. But we'll talk about those films. Yeah. So the last thing I did want to mention too is that we do have the Watchers review up on the channel. It's our spoiler-free review. Now I know this movie, it's all about like the reveals and stuff like that. So let me know if y'all would be interested in us doing a spoiler discussion on the Watchers. But we got our spoiler-free review up on the channel. We even got our out of theater reaction on the channel as well. So so y'all can know we ain't lying. That when we walked out of that theater, we were like, "Damn, that shit was good." You know what I'm saying? Like we legit felt that even when we came out of the theater, and even after digesting it for like a day, we still felt the same about how much we really enjoyed the Watchers. So you can check out that on our YouTube channel as well. Give that some love over there.
Mike said, that's Portland. When I visited, I was like, "Damn, am I allowed in this city?"
Oh, right. Keeping it a buck, like that's how we was feeling too.
That says it's inspiring to see us make it to film festivals because sometimes it feels impossible for me to even go to one movie. I'm gonna tell you, it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially like AJ, he works. We got all these kids. Yep. It's hard to make time to do stuff.
It's hard, yeah, and it sucks too because, especially when you're so busy. Because we also wanted to go today as well.
Yeah,
but we just can't.
We did our live, and then we're recording another podcast with someone else, and then obviously we got these kids. That's always we got these kids.
Yeah, it's tough out here, man. But we found ways to make it work, and it was definitely just a dope time in general. Is there anything else you want to shout out that we got coming up?
No, actually, I think this is a free week right here.
Oh, is it free?
Well, we don't have any like prior.
And there's no movies coming out next week either, huh?
No, we don't have any like confirmed stuff that we got to do.
Oh,
so that's cool.
That gives us opportunity to talk about Evil and all that stuff.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a break, but then be back at it next week because Juneteenth is coming up. We got we're dropping our conversation with Taymon from the Scream Kings next week.
That was a dope conversation
for Juneteenth.
Shout out Taymon, Scream Kings.
Yeah. And some other stuff going on, but we'll keep y'all abreast to that. Matt said, "Always with these kids, always with these kids."
Yeah, it's always with these kids for sure. Hey, but look, that does it for this live stream right here, y'all.
Thanks so much for y'all tuning in. KB loves movies. Everybody. Mike, Matt, thank y'all so much for stopping by. We appreciate you guys
that
so
live
so
discussion.
much.
Y'all brought some great additions and context and stuff, questions, comments. We love having that interaction. We appreciate y'all tuning in.
Yes.
And to our replay viewers, thanks for tuning into the replay as well. Drop y'all's comments in the comments. We always try to reply when we can. But I'm gonna hop up here and go watch that Xbox showcase because they might show some horror games in that too.
We'll see y'all next week.
Well, a lot of dope shit. But yeah, we'll be back here. I don't know if it's gonna be the same time, but around the same time next Sunday to talk again about horror movie news and all that good stuff. Again, thank y'all for y'all support. Make sure you hit that like, share it, comment, subscribe to stay tuned in to All Things Horror. We'll see you on the next one. We out.